Imagine waking up to a perfect September morning in 1900. The sun glinting off the Gulf of Mexico like diamonds, children building sandcastles on the beach, and streetcars rattling through palm-lined boulevards. This is Galveston, Texas, the jewel of the South, the Wall Street of the Southwest, the fourth wealthiest city per capita in the entire United States. A city so confident in its future that nobody believed the warnings. By nightfall, 8,000 people would be dead, and the American dream would be floating face down in the wreckage. If you were standing on the Galveston boardwalk on September 8, 1900, you wouldn't have been worried. The city sat on a sandbar barely 9 feet above sea level, a slender ribbon of land separating the bay from the Gulf. But that had never been a problem before. Galveston had weathered storms for decades. The Weather Bureau had issued warnings about a tropical disturbance, but the local forecaster, Cline, a man of science and reputation, assured everyone there was no real danger. He told people that no hurricane could seriously damage the island. He was catastrophically, fatally wrong. By noon, the barometric pressure was plummeting. By mid-afternoon, the wind was screaming at 145 miles per hour, ripping roofs off like paper. But the wind wasn't the killer. The Gulf didn't just rise, it surged. A 15-foot wall of water came roaring across the island from the south, pushing entire houses before it like toys. There was nowhere to run. The bridges to the mainland had already been destroyed. Galveston had become a death trap. Families climbed into attics, only to drown as the water rose higher. Others broke through their roofs and clung to the peaks, watching their neighbors vanish into the black, churning water. The storm didn't just destroy homes, it turned them into weapons. Entire structures were ripped from their foundations and smashed into other buildings, creating mountains of splintered wood, twisted metal, and human bodies. The wealthiest families, the cotton barons and shipping magnates, huddled in their grand Victorian mansions on Broadway, believing their brick walls and high ceilings would protect them. It didn't matter. The storm didn't discriminate. Doctors, merchants, children, servants, all were swept away together, their bodies tangled in the debris. Cline himself lost his pregnant wife. He spent the night clinging to wreckage with his 3 daughters, drifting through a nightmare of screams and silence. When the sun rose on September 9th, Galveston was unrecognizable. Bodies were piled so high on the beaches that mass pyres burned for weeks. The stench of burning flesh mixed with rotting seaweed hung over the city like a fog. Survivors walked through streets that no longer existed, stepping over corpses, searching desperately for anyone they recognized. The city that thought it was unsinkable, that mocked the idea of building a seawall, had been erased in a single night, and America learned a brutal lesson. Nature doesn't care about your wealth, your confidence, or your dreams. The sea takes what it wants.